Hello, everybody. Welcome to this first solo monologue style podcast. I thought I would mix it up a little bit from the sort of interview style, and also with it being over a year now since I started the podcast, which you probably won't believe given how little episodes I've managed to churn out within that period. I thought it would be a good thing to keep you updated and reflect on what's been going on since I started the podcast, like I say, over 12 months ago now, and also talk about Hyrox, because a lot of the episodes coming up have some element of Hyrox conversations. So what I want to do is explain my journey with that and what exactly is Hyrox, so that you can choose to either tune into those episodes or skip them. So the first thing to really talk about is what an incredible journey it's been from me first doing that first episode with Joey Webber. And I think the best thing that I've managed by far, it's the increase in the quality of the connections in my network. So a lot of the people that I've spoken to were sort of on the sort of peripheries, or friends that were, those friendships hadn't like developed to like super prominent ones. And it's just been an awesome exercise in being present with people, really focusing on them, because as a extroverted person, can you tell, who likes talking a lot, it's been good for me to be able to sit back and allow other people to talk a lot more. And I've seen a lot of benefit to that in my personal life, and becoming, I think, a better listener overall, because it is a skill. I always used to think that it's something that you're just adorned with, if you're a very selfless person, that you're the sort of person that will sit back and listen. And some of that might be true, but I do think it can be trained, even if you are extroverted and you do like to talk about yourself. But one of the main things I want to talk about today is the change in my life through the lens of Hyrox, and the sort of knock-on effect of having these conversations that led me down this path. So that started with the episode with Andy, who is my cousin, and he's been into Hyrox for quite a few years, and we had a conversation about it. I went and trained with him for the first time on that morning, and he then told me about Matty Green and Cumbria strength and conditioning, which then led me to go and try out a Hyrox class there. They're based in Dalton, in Cumbria, in England, and I absolutely loved it. I loved the sort of like the camaraderie. I loved like people like shouting encouragement at each other in the class. And I had been working out for quite some time up to that point, but mainly just like at home in my gym, or at non-community gyms that you'd expect, things like Everlast, DW, Nuffield, where it's unfortunately it's quite a sterile atmosphere. So by joining a community gym somewhere like Cumbria Strength and Conditioning, and there are other ones, there are CrossFit style gyms like Industry 13 in our area. I've not actually been there, but huge. They've got a great reputation. But the difference is, and you might hear the term clicky with these things, but of course, clicky is a side effect of having a community. You don't get a solid community without having some form of a click. Because I think that's just something we've always had from like a tribal sort of evolutionarily sort of lens, that people just don't like people are a bit guarded when someone comes into something that they deem important in their community. So I guess what I'm saying is, I would highly recommend, if you don't go to if you don't train in like a community gym, to maybe try out something like that. Certainly if you are single and you're looking to socialize more, now you might be the sort of person who literally just wants to go train, headphones on, don't talk to me, and that's fine. But if you're someone that needs human connection, or needs more of it, like I do, going to somewhere that is more like that, where you can socialize and like meet like-minded people, is really amazing. And on that, I've spoken on the podcast about my journey with alcohol, and first giving it up around 3 years ago, and sort of had a few experiments in between that time of trying out moderation and it not working. And I recently did a full year without alcohol, and I think I'll probably do an episode on alcohol at some point. But I had been really strong with that, like up to that for the last 3 years. But I think I was always struggling to sort of like find my place. I come from like a musician background, and obviously with playing in bands and stuff, it is a very much of a sort of party atmosphere. You know, you're up late, so it's not the sort of thing that goes really well with like health and fitness and not drinking. So, you know, where I would go to events where my sort of musician friends were there, and everyone would always be so nice and supportive of my choice to give up drinking, but it would be no matter how nice people were, you would always feel left out of the crack. So when I joined Cumbria Strength and Conditioning, it was the first time that I came across a group of people whereby me not drinking was an asset, and an asset, and also kind of like not even that noticeable, and not an oddity. So it's like, oh, you don't drink? Oh, like awesome. Or you don't drink, or and like no one really even notices, because you know, you're in an environment which is all about self-improvement and treating your body well and growth and stuff like that. So so joining that community gym, as I said, was just amazing. And they specialize in Cumbria Strength and Conditioning, and Matty Green, who's the head coach and owner there, specialize in Hyrox training. And what Hyrox is it's this sport which has really taken off in the last few years. And it's sort of like, you know, people talk about it in the same breath as like CrossFit, which you may know a bit more about. But basically, it's fitness racing. So it's lots of running with exercise stations in between, and they're sort of functional movements. And I might as well explain what that is now. So each race is always the same. They do them all around the world. So I've done one in Manchester, in Birmingham, in Glasgow, but they have them in New York and Madrid and Cologne and all over the world. Certainly, I think it's maybe more westernized countries at the moment, if I'm right in thinking. And in total, you're going to run 8 kilometers, split up into 1 kilometers. And then in between each 1 kilometer, you do an exercise station. So I'm going to run you through it right now. So you start with 1 kilometer. Then you're going to do a 1,000 meter ski erg, which is like, it mimics like the action of skiing. Then you're going to run. Then you're going to do a sled push, 200-meter sled push with heavy weights. And then you're going to run again. Then you're going to do a sled pull, which is like the same thing, a little bit less weight on it. And you've got a rope attached, and then you've got to pull it. Again, it's 4 lengths of 12.5 meters, so 50 lengths in total. Then you run again. And then you do burpee broad jumps. Now, I think, is it 100 meters? I think it's 100 meters, or it might be 200 meters. So you can look that up on Google. Hyrox burpees length. And burpee broad jumps. Sorry. And then what that is basically is you get down on the ground to do like a burpee, but instead of just jumping up straight, you then jump sort of forward like a frog. So those are fun. And then you do another run. And then coming up to the 5th station now, you're going to be doing the row. Now the row is, again, 1,000 meters or 1 kilometer. And most people sort of like chill out at that point because a lot of it's been quite intense. And the row, you can sort of like ease off a little bit, get your breath back. Then you're going to do another run. And then you're going to do the 6th station, which is the farmer's carry, which I believe is 200 meters. And that's 2 kettlebells, 1 in each hand, of varying weights depending on, these are all, by the way, varying weights depending on whether you are in the women's or whether you're in the men's or in the men's pro. And then you're going to walk or run. I like to run with them, that 200 meters. Then you're going to run another 1K. And on number 7 is the, in my opinion, probably the hardest, which is the sandbag lunges. So you're either, depending on your weight class, it's either going to be a 10 kilo, 20 kilo, or 30 kilo sandbag on your back. And then you're doing lunges, sandbag lunges. And that is 80 meters? Feels like 200 meters. Can't remember. I'll put it in the notes or you can Google it. Then you're going to do another run, and then you're coming up to the final station. Now, the final station is the infamous wall balls. So that's basically a big old medicine ball, like this sort of wide. If you're just listening, I'd say it was, I don't know, about like 40 centimeters wide. Maybe it's quite big. And that will either be 4, 6, or 9 kilos. And then you've got to squat down and then throw it up and then hit this target, which is 3 meters in the air, 3 meters high. And you've got to do 100 of them. So by this point, you're absolutely gassed. And those things are absolutely minging. So most people, the last 2 stations, either those sandbag lunges or the wall balls, really dislike them. So that's all the stations. That's what Hyrox is. And since having that conversation with Andy, I've done those 3 competitions. And it is an amazing sport. So if you're looking for a challenge and looking for something different, you know, you're not just training running, you're training strength, you're training your anaerobic, your aerobic, your ability to switch from anaerobic to aerobic really quick. So there's so much. And obviously, if you are in this area in South Cumbria, then you should go to Cumbria Strength and Conditioning and get on a plan with Matty. Or there are other places obviously around, and Hyrox have like a list of affiliated gyms that you can go to, and then you also have like unofficial ones who offer it as well. They just aren't able to say the things, but you can find out. Go onto the Facebook group Hyrox UK or whatever, ask people about gyms in insert your area, and then find somewhere to train. So that's that. And yeah, so my podcasting has kind of went by the wayside for the back half of 2023 because I was so focused on doing this training. But right now, as we speak, I'm entering some like off-season time, taking time off the gym and focusing on other projects, including the podcast. And this is why I'm recording this now, and publishing quite a lot of episodes at the moment. So I'm excited to see the response and to continue on with that. But I think yeah, I'm just looking forward to the future. I'm looking forward to having more conversations and seeing what this brings for me. And yeah, I appreciate if you've been listening or watching. And yeah, I'll look forward to speaking to you in the next monologue babble thing. This was done in one take, so please please be kind to me. And yeah, have a wonderful day, whatever you're up to, evening, whatever, wherever you are in the world, and drop me a DM. Thanks very much.